আপনাদের সবাইকে স্বাগত জানাচ্ছি টাইম টেলিভিশনের স্টুডিও থেকে সরাসরি অনুষ্ঠান ল অ্যান্ড জাস্টিস উইথ সালেম এস রিজভি অনুষ্ঠানে। দর্শক, আজকের অনুষ্ঠানে যথারীতি উপস্থিত রয়েছেন অ্যাটর্নি অ্যাট ল সালেম এস রিজভি। মিস্টার সালেম এস রিজভি, ওয়েলকাম টু আওয়ার স্টুডিও।
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
How are you?
Very good, great. No
Okay.
complaints so far.
Right. So, as usual, like every day, we want to know that what's going on about immigration. Is there any update or any news?
Right. Well, at
So-
the moment, as you know, this is the season for H-1B filing.
Mhm.
And people who wants to file for professional visa, this is their time to come forward, prepare their application, file them as soon as possible. And I think this H-1B category becomes very relevant, and discussion about this H-1B category, especially in the context of what's happening in U.S. Congress, because this is exactly what you want to know.
Right.
And I sensed your questions because you want to know what is happening in U.S. Congress as far as immigration is concerned.
Right.
Unfortunately, as far as comprehensive immigration law is concerned, there is silence. Nobody is talking about it, right? And also we know how executive action, President Obama's executive action, has been blocked through legal means. So I'm not in a position to forecast anything as you know, when this is going to be, this ban is going to be lifted. But obviously, this is in the interest of the executive, President Obama's administration, and also people who have been waiting for many years for this executive action to see something more promising coming forward. So we will update our audience about that.
Right.
We will keep talking about it. But at the moment, we don't have any promising news.
Any specific thing,
special
right.
news about executive
Right.
action. Having said that, I'm also, because as I mentioned, that people are getting their application ready to file for H-1B. But on the other hand, I think in one of the shows we talk about this bipartisan bill for
Introduced
by expanding the number of H-1B visas, and there was a bipartisan bill which addressed very high-skilled visas,
Right.
and the idea was to improve the process and also expand the number of visas available in this category. So at the moment we have approximately 65,000 visas available, and the
That's a
idea
lot.
was to increase it and go over 100,000. I think they were talking about 115 or 120,000 if I'm not mistaken. But now, unfortunately, some of the Republican Party members are creating obstacle in this way. And the Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley, he is asking a lot of questions. Why people wants to come to this country while our people, Americans, have no jobs. So these are all rhetorics, and this is very unfortunate that H-1B bill has been debated in this manner, creating confusion, creating suspicion, and promoting the idea that perhaps foreigners will be taking over these jobs, and American will be sitting and
Right.
waiting for jobs. So, but that's not the fact. There are lots of information. There's a lot of data. There's a lot of research done on this issue, and we need American. We need foreign workers
Right.
who are talented, who are hardworking, who are very skilled. If we don't attract them to make our country a better country, obviously other countries are waiting for them. I mean,
They'll take them,
There's
definitely.
huge demand in Europe. There's a huge demand in many other countries. So these people will go there. I mean, in fact, I was talking to someone the other day, and they said, if I don't find a job in the United States, and I'm highly skilled and a professional scientist, and then I have many other job offers. So we don't want to lose those kind of people. So let's see what happens. We will update our audience about that bipartisan bill. But at the moment, when I talk about H-1B, it is very important for people who wants to file for H-1B, and they want to be in this category, especially students who are at the verge of completion of their education, And as you know, some F1 students who are completing their education, they can get OPT, which is optional training, and during that period they have to land a job. So, but the idea is to prepare the application and file the application on April 1st.
April 1st, that's
That date is very, very important, because our experience tells us that if people wait longer than that, then perhaps they would not be picked up, because there's a lottery system. Approximately 65,000 visas are available.
It's a lot. 65,000 is a lot.
Well, it looks a lot.
Looks a lot.
Yes, it's a big number.
Right.
But believe me, this is not enough. It is a lot in number.
Because a lot of people are waiting.
But it's not enough. We still need many thousand more visas for this category. So let's see what's happened. But my advice would be for those people who are preparing their H-1B application to get everything done. And by the way, I also mentioned something about LCA, because any H-1B applicant has to get a LCA done through the employer, because it's an employment-based visa. So employer had to get the LCA done. I still remember many years ago, it used to take only 1 day. You file the application, fill up the application, set it, and it will be completed in 1 day. Now it has to be filed electronically. I'm talking about labor conditional certificate. And it takes about 7 days. So we are almost there. So my advice to H-1B applicant would be to seek the services of qualified lawyer, make sure all the papers are done properly,
Correctly, yeah.
get the LCA done, and then go for your H-1B.
And you mentioned that deadline is April 1st.
Well, that's the starting date.
Starting
It's
date,
not
yeah.
the deadline. It's the
Okay.
starting date, because you cannot
And
file
how long they're gonna accept
for
that?
your new H-1B. You cannot file before April 1st.
Okay.
And then the decision will be made after a few years, and new applicants who are applying for H-1B for the first time, they would be able to get their approval, and they can start working from October 1st, the fiscal year. But people who are applying for extension of their previous H-1B, they don't have to wait for this category. So the starting date is April 1st, and the sooner the file, the better it would be. Otherwise, our last year experience is that people who there were thousands of applications, more than 65,000 were filed during the first week of April, and people who filed on April 1st, they got their visas done, and people who filed after a couple of days later, unfortunately,
they're
they were
all behind. Right. It is always good to follow
preparation. I
stick
think
with
I'm
date.
a great proponent of preparation. I mean, I believe in preparing everything properly, and as you said, 90% preparation and 10% execution. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Saleem S. Rizvi. We're going to come back about this point.
Sure.
প্রিয় দর্শক, আপনারা যেমনটি শুনছিলেন যে আমাদের যারা বাংলাদেশ থেকে আমরা এখানে আসি, আমরা একই সাথে আমাদের যারা আত্মীয় স্বজন আছে তাদেরকে আমরা এই দেশটিতে নিয়ে আসতে চাই। যেহেতু আমরা পরিবার কেন্দ্রিক, পরিবারের প্রতি দায়িত্ববোধ, দায়িত্বশীলতা আমাদের অনেক বেশি, আমরা সেটা সবসময় অনুভব করি। সেটা থেকেই আমাদের মাথায় সবসময় চিন্তা থাকে কি করে আমাদের পরিবারের সদস্যটিকে, ভাইটিকে, বোনটিকে এখানে নিয়ে আসা যায়। এবং একই সাথে এখন কিন্তু অনেক দর্শকই জানতে চাচ্ছেন আমাদের কাছে যে কিভাবে তাদের পরিবারের সদস্যদেরকে গ্রিন কার্ড ছাড়াও, সিটিজেনশিপ ছাড়াও কিভাবে নিয়ে আসা যায় এখানে এই দেশটিতে। এবং তার অন্যতম একটি প্রধান উপায় হচ্ছে H-1B ভিসা, কারণ বাংলাদেশে এখন অনেকেই দক্ষ জনশক্তি, বিশেষ করে কম্পিউটার স্কিল এবং বিভিন্ন প্রফেশনাল তো বটেই। তো সেই বিষয়টির উপর আমরা আরও বিস্তারিত কথা বলবো। তবে আপনারা যে কোনো প্রশ্নের জন্য আমাদের ফোন করতে পারেন সরাসরি এই মুহূর্তে স্টুডিওতে। আমাদের ফোন নাম্বারটি স্ক্রলে নিশ্চয়ই দেখতে পাচ্ছেন। আপনার যে কোনো প্রশ্ন, কোনো ধরনের সংকোচ দ্বিধা না রেখে সরাসরি প্রশ্ন করলে আমরা চেষ্টা করব আপনার প্রশ্নের উত্তর দেওয়ার জন্য। Mr. Saleem S. Rizvi, so can you explain more like H-1B visa and also L-1 visa? You already mentioned that,
Right.
but for our viewers, you elaborate more, that will be helpful.
Absolutely. I mean, these are two great
Right.
ways available to professionals. And when we talk about L1, that category is open to executive, manager, and people who have specialized knowledge. So let's focus a little bit more on H1B visa. As you said, and that is true, it's available for people who have professional degrees.
Right.
Okay.
Let's say if somebody has that, like here in our community, we like many people are citizen.
Right.
You know, they want to bring their family member.
Sure.
But at the same time, beside the citizenship,
right,
there is H1B visa, which is more opportunity as well.
Absolutely.
So they
even
should
if you
take
don't have any family
Right.
member, the beauty of this visa is even if you don't have any family member, you can still come here on H1B visa.
Right.
For H1B visa, the most important prerequisite is to have an employer. All right, a credible, viable employer who is willing to sponsor you. And the employer is taking certain responsibility. Employer is saying, look, there's, I need a person in this profession. Let's take the example of a computer business.
Right.
All right, an IT business.
Which is booming right now.
Okay, because lots of H1B are consumed by IT industry. All right, and the owner of this IT industry is saying, well, I need computer engineers, or I need computer software engineers, or data analysts and all that. There are thousands of different categories. As long as that job category is requiring a professional degree. If somebody is coming from Bangladesh, for instance, if his degree is equivalent to American bachelor in a professional field, if somebody is holding just, let's say, BA, Bachelor of Arts, that's not enough because that's not a professional degree.
Right.
All right. It's a bachelor degree, but not a professional degree. But if somebody has BS, in sciences, in computer sciences, that person would qualify. Then you have to see whether that degree is equivalent to American bachelor. So in most of the cases, people who are holding master degrees from their countries, their degrees are equal to bachelor degrees here.
Right.
And again, as I said, the most important thing is to establish that bachelor degree is in a professional category, whether that person is an engineer, whether the person is a teacher, he's an accountant, he's a lawyer, he's a
chemist, pharmacist.
There are hundreds of in pharmaceutical business or in computer-related businesses or financial analysts. I mean, the list is very, very long. So as long as that degree is a professional degree, that person can be sponsored. Obviously, there are many, many other requirements. Employer has certain responsibility. Employer has to verify certain information, and the employee can come here and start working on the basis of this H1B. This is a great way of doing taking care of immigration issue if somebody is eligible for H1B. And as I said, the season for H1B is now.
Right. Let me take your phone.
Sure.
হ্যালো, আসসালামু আলাইকুম। আপনি কে বলছেন এবং কোথা থেকে বলছেন? আপনার নাম পরিচয় দিয়ে দয়া করে প্রশ্ন করুন।
হ্যালো, জি আমি নিজাম বলছিলাম জ্যাকসনহাইট থেকে।
জি নিজাম ভাই, আপনি বলুন।
আচ্ছা, আমি আমার গ্রিন কার্ড হারিয়ে গিয়েছিল, তো ওটার জন্য অ্যাপ্লাই করার পরবর্তীতে আমাকে দেশে যাওয়ার জন্য ওরা সিল দেয়। তো সিলটি পাওয়ার পরে এখন এরপরে ওরা আমাকে ফিঙ্গারপ্রিন্টের জন্য একটা চিঠি পাঠায়, কিন্তু তখন আমি দেশে ছিলাম, যে কারণে আমি ওই টাইম মতো আমি যেতে পারিনি। জি। তো এখন আমি কি করতে পারি?
তার মানে আপনি এখানে গ্রিন কার্ড হারিয়ে যাওয়ার পরে এখানকার একটি সিল নিয়ে যেটা পারমিশন নিয়ে আপনি দেশে গিয়েছিলেন, তাই তো?
রাইট। জি জি।
এবং বাই দিস টাইম আপনি যখন দেশে ছিলেন তখন আপনার ফিঙ্গারপ্রিন্টের চিঠি এসেছিল, আপনি সেটা মিস করেছেন।
জি জি, এখন আমি রিশিডিউল করতে যাচ্ছি।
আপনি রিশিডিউল করতে যাচ্ছিলেন। থ্যাংক ইউ আপনার প্রশ্নের জন্য নিজাম ভাই। সো দিস জেন্টলম্যান লস্ট his green card,
right.
And then he took permission or seal on the passport, I think.
Right. Yeah.
And then went to the Bangladesh.
Right.
But by this time he got a mail for fingerprint while he was in Bangladesh.
Okay.
So he missed the date. So he want to reschedule that.
Okay.
So can he do that?
Yeah, sure.
Or how he can do that?
He came. It looks like Najam Bhai lost his green card or misplaced it somewhere. And generally speaking, in a situation like this, you can make an appointment with the immigration service through InfoPass. You can go there, they stamp the passport, and you can travel. All
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's
And
what
this
he
is
did.
exactly
He did.
Mr. Najam has done that. Now he's back, and obviously he was scheduled for for fingerprinting
while he was in Bangladesh.
He was in Bangladesh. So what he needs to do is he can have it rescheduled. It's not a big issue because he has a proper excuse that he was not here. So it can be done very easily. There are many different ways of doing it. Najam bhai, if you want to contact my office, certainly he can call me at my office.
The phone number is 212-732-4336. এটি হচ্ছে সালেম এস রিজভির ফোন নাম্বার। আপনি অন্য যে কোনো লয়ারের সাথে কথা বলতে পারেন, তবে বিষয়টি হচ্ছে যে কোনো অভিজ্ঞ লয়ারের সাথে কথা বলাটা। এবং সালেম এস রিজভি যেটি বললেন যে ডেফিনেটলি আপনি যেহেতু সমস্ত পারমিশন নিয়ে এখান থেকে গিয়েছিলেন, আপনি অবশ্যই ট্র্যাকেই আছেন, আইনের ভেতরেই আছেন, বিচলিত হবার কিছু নেই, আপনি অ্যাপ্লিকেশন করতে পারেন। So, Mr. Saleem S. Rizvi.
Yeah, surely. I mean, it's a doable thing. I don't see any problem with that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your advice.
Welcome.
Okay, let's come back to H-1B visa.
Right. Well, H-1B, again, my advice would be to file the application as soon as possible. Now, as far as L-1 visa is concerned, you mentioned about that. In
For the
that
best
category,
threading, waxing, facial,
lots of people
color,
who are not,
haircuts,
let's say, who have no employer available, all right, but they are the managers or executive of a company, all right, and they want to set up their own business here in the United States. I mean, this is in the framework of a very small businesses, but these are good businesses. I mean, they're viable businesses. They are not multi-billion.
It could be medium business,
It
like
could be.
you're right.
It could be
Huge
multi-billion.
or
it could be a global organization,
or export import,
or
as
it could be a
mentioned.
medium-sized organization, or it could be a very small organization. As long as this is a legitimate organization and doing business. And let's focus on Bangladesh. So because that becomes more relevant. Let's say somebody you're getting another call?
No, we're going to take a break.
Okay.
And after coming the break,
Absolutely.
we'll
do it.
talk briefly about L1 visa. প্রিয় দর্শক, আমরা একটা ছোট্ট বিরতি নিচ্ছি। বিরতির পর আবারও ফিরে আসবো। ততক্ষণ আমাদের সঙ্গেই থাকুন এবং আপনারা সরাসরি প্রশ্ন করতে পারেন টাইম টেলিভিশনে এই অনুষ্ঠানটিতে। আমাদের সঙ্গেই থাকুন।
For the best threading, waxing, facial, color, haircuts, henna, special bridal and party makeup, and more, come to Tenzin Salon, corner of Broadway and 72nd Street in Jackson Heights.
Hi, I'm Dr. Yvonne Khan. Welcome to Khan's.
Khan's Tutorial is New York's #1 tutorial for Common Core, citywide ELA and math, summer program, SAT, Regents, and the exam for Stuyvesant, Bronx Science, and Brooklyn Tech. Visit any of our 10 locations at Jackson Heights, Astoria, Castle Hill, Parkchester, Brooklyn, Jamaica, Sutphin, Ozone Park, Richmond Hill, and Floral Park.
For higher test scores, send your child to Khan's Tutorial, where we educate for life.
Call today.
প্রিয় দর্শক, বিরতির পর আবারও ফিরে এলাম টাইম টেলিভিশনের সরাসরি অনুষ্ঠান ল অ্যান্ড জাস্টিস উইথ সালেম এস রিজভি অনুষ্ঠানে। দর্শক, আমি আবারও বলছি, আপনারা সরাসরি ফোন করতে পারেন আমাদের এই অনুষ্ঠানটিতে আইন বিষয়ক যে কোনো প্রশ্নের জন্য। আমাদের ফোন নাম্বারটি স্ক্রলে নিশ্চয়ই দেখতে পাচ্ছেন। আপনাদের যে কোনো প্রশ্নের উত্তর দেবার চেষ্টা করব আমরা। ফিরে যাচ্ছি আলোচনায়। So, Mr. Saleem S. Rizvi, we are talking about L1 visa.
L1 visas,
Right.
yes. Let me start by giving you a very brief description of it. Okay, as the name indicates, it's intra-company transfer visas. So let's say there are two companies. One is in Bangladesh. Regardless of the size of the company, we will come to that. There are two companies. One is in Bangladesh, and the other company is in the process of being established or already established in the United States. And both companies have links, meaning whether they are sister organization, whether they are affiliated organization, or whether they are parents organizations. As long as they have this common stocks and shareholders, all right, there is a certain requirement. I don't want to go deep into it because it becomes very technical. But in a very simple way, as long as there are two companies and there are certain employees which want to come here and wants to work in the United States, they can obtain this visa, which is called L1 visa. What kind of employees? Whether they have executive position, president, vice president on a higher level, or people who have managerial positions. It could be sales manager, it could be a marketing manager, so managerial position, who is managing a certain part or certain functions of the organization. And also people who have specialized knowledge. They can also qualify. People with specialized knowledge, they can also get L1 visa. And but the most important thing is to show this link between the two companies. I mean, I have represented lots of people who come from huge global organization. I have represented people who have very small organization, a few people, all right? But those are legitimate, bona fide organization. Very recently, I have done a case for a importer and exporter. In the beginning, I had my own doubts about it, but the owner of the organization, he said, I can assure you this is a running business. I'm not committing any fraud, even though I have 3-4 employees, but I can give you all the necessary information about them. And he was in the process of establishing an organization here. Setting up a corporation is not a big deal. It can be done within 24 hours. So we set up a corporation for him, and I advise him how to invest money in the United States. We open up a business account for him, and the money was transferred. It was not a huge account. It was less than $100,000.
Okay.
But the nature of that business was so important that we don't need to show that millions of dollars are being invested. The investment was small, the business was very small, but it was a very specialized business, and I'm pretty sure this can be done. And the moment we file the application, it doesn't take long. It takes few weeks to get it done. And there are two ways of getting a L1 visa. There's one way where people can stay here in the United States and have their status changed. Let's say, I give you an example. If someone is here on a visitor visa, let's say,
Right.
and without going back to Bangladesh, you want to change the status.
Okay. Let me take.
You are getting a call,
phone.
surely, absolutely.
হ্যালো, আসসালামু আলাইকুম দর্শক, আপনি কোথা থেকে বলছেন? আপনার নাম এবং পরিচয় দিয়ে আপনার প্রশ্নটি করুন।
হ্যালো, আমি শিমুল বলছিলাম জামাইকা থেকে।
জি বলুন শিমুল ভাই।
জি, আমি অলরেডি অ্যাসাইলাম করেছি এবং অ্যাসাইলাম করার পরে হচ্ছে আমার ইন্টারভিউ হয়েছে এবং ইন্টারভিউ হওয়ার পর আমাকে কোর্টে পাঠিয়েছে।
জি।
তো এটা তো একটা লং প্রসেস। মাঝখানে হচ্ছে আমি একটা জবের থেকে আমি একটা স্পন্সর পেয়েছি। তো এখন আমি যদি জবের স্পন্সর দিয়ে আমি এখানে থাকতে পারবো কিনা?
আপনি জবের স্পন্সর মানে অফার পেয়েছেন, তাই তো?
জি জি, রাইট।
আর আপনার আমি যদি ভুল না শুনে থাকি, আপনি অ্যাসাইলাম কেস করেছেন এবং সেটা আপনার এই মুহূর্তে কোর্টে পাঠানো হয়েছে।
জি
জি, ধন্যবাদ আপনার প্রশ্নের জন্য। So this gentleman filed an asylum case,
Right.
and which is sent it to the court.
Okay.
And by this time, he got an offer for a sponsor from a business.
Right, right.
So what he
well,
should do, he should continue.
Very
both,
good
or-
question, because lots of people in that position. First of all, if his case is referred to a judge, it means he has a second chance to prove whatever he's claiming as far as his asylum case is concerned. So this is a second opportunity, and my advice to him would be to prepare his case properly, because it looks like he has lost one opportunity because the case must have gone before the asylum officer. And if they are not satisfied and send the case to immigration judge, this is his second opportunity. He should be fully prepared.
Right.
He should be fully represented by a competent lawyer.
Right.
And I'm hoping that he has a competent
Good lawyer.
lawyer who is taking care of his case. Now, the problem is, even I'm pretty sure he has his work authorization, because when you file for your political asylum,
Right.
you can get your work authorization after waiting 5 months.
Okay.
So if he has his work authorization and he's legal in this country, but unfortunately, in order to get yourself sponsored on the basis of employment and to get your green card while you're here, you got to be in a valid non-immigrant visa.
Oh.
Okay, let's say again, one example is if somebody comes to this country on a visitor visa, visa was good for 6 months, the person overstayed, visa was gone, legal entry was gone, and then he filed for political asylum. Political asylum gave him legal status in this country
Right.
to stay and work, but that legal status is not a non-immigrant visa.
Right.
So if you don't have a valid non-immigrant visa, you cannot have your employment-based interview conducted in the United States. Your employer can file for you, but you will have to go back to your country. But in his case, unfortunately, he cannot go back because he has political fear,
Right.
Political persecution back home.
Right.
So the short answer is he cannot get his employment-based visa interview done in the United States.
He has to done that.
He cannot have
He
it
cannot
done.
because he
cannot.
don't have the
A
valid visa.
valid non-immigrant,
Right.
valid non-immigrant
Non-immigrant
visa.
visa.
Non-immigrant visa.
Right.
It should be a valid, unexpired, non-immigrant stay in this country.
So he has to stick with the asylum case.
With asylum case,
Right. With
yeah,
good lawyer.
yes,
Right.
that's very important.
শিমুল ভাই, আপনি যদি আমাদের অনুষ্ঠান এখনো দেখে থাকেন, অ্যাটর্নি সালেম এস রিজভি যেমনটি বলছিলেন যে এই মুহূর্তে যেহেতু আপনি পলিটিক্যাল অ্যাসাইলাম কেসটি আপনার চলছে এবং আপনার কোনো ভ্যালিড ভিসা এই মুহূর্তে নেই, আপনার ওয়ার্ক আপনি যদি কোনো বিজনেস স্পন্সর পেতে চান তাহলে আপনার ভ্যালিড ভিসা লাগবে। তো এই মুহূর্তে আপনার জন্য পরামর্শ হচ্ছে যে আপনি একজন গুড লয়ার নিয়ে আপনি অ্যাসাইলাম কেসটির উপরেই আপনি মনোনিবেশ করবেন। ধন্যবাদ আপনার প্রশ্নের জন্য। Okay, we get another call. Hello. Okay, sorry, the phone is dropped. Anyway,
Yeah.
so we are almost end of the program.
Right.
So we want to wrap up for
Sure.
today.
So do it.
Actually, we have a lot of question, a
Right.
lot of query, but
Yeah,
our
that's
time
great.
is
This
very
is
short.
wonderful. Yeah.
So we know about H-1B visa, which is very important
Right.
and good opportunity
Right.
for our community people
Yeah.
back home.
Yeah.
They could apply. There is a lot of
Absolutely.
skilled people. They could come here by with this visa.
I think pre-planning
also-
is very, very important. I mean, I have seen people, because of lack of information, lack of representation, people make bad decision.
Right.
It's very important to
To
have
get a good lawyer.
a good
who
lawyer and a
knows-
good
Right.
roadmap.
Right.
If I want to get to my objective, if I want to reach my destination, I need to have a roadmap for that.
Right.
So it's very important, and as you said, it's also very important to have a competent, experienced, honest attorney on your side.
Right. This is very important. প্রিয় দর্শক, আপনারা আপনাদের যে কোনো আইনগত সমস্যার জন্য আপনারা যোগাযোগ করতে পারেন, আমাদের এই অনুষ্ঠানে ফোন করতে পারেন। আমাদের অনুষ্ঠান প্রতি সপ্তাহে প্রচারিত হয়ে থাকে রাত 9টায়। আপনারা এখানে ফোন করতে পারেন। একই সাথে আপনারা ফোন করতে পারেন অ্যাটর্নি অ্যাট ল সালেম এস রিজভির অফিসে। ওনার অফিস নাম্বারটি আমি আরও একবার আপনাদের বলে দিচ্ছি। অফিস নাম্বারটি হচ্ছে 2127324336, আপনার যে কোনো আইনগত প্রশ্নের জন্য। এবং আশা করি আপনারা প্রতি সপ্তাহে নিয়মিত আমাদের এই অনুষ্ঠানটি দেখবেন এবং আপনাদের প্রশ্ন, যে কোনো আইনগত প্রশ্নের উত্তর আমরা এখানে দেবার চেষ্টা করব আপনাদের জন্য। সে পর্যন্ত সবাই ভালো থাকুন, সুস্থ থাকুন এবং নিরাপদে থাকুন। আল্লাহ হাফেজ।
Allah Hafiz.